What you saying, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Excitingly, this is a new series I want to roll out to you guys, a series called Squad. And what is Squad? Squad is where I'm going to be going systematically through every single player in the Arsenal squad. I'm going to look at any sort of narratives where they're out there and see whether those narratives are valid, whether they're invalid, where the players need to improve, how well they're doing, if they have a future at the club, and also which. And funny enough, obviously because I'm a Christian, I'm going to see who in the scriptures, who in the Bible does this player remind me of and why. So the first episode, the first player we're going to be doing a profile on, right? It's going to be a deeper dive. I'll look at some statistics here and there, but the first player of the first ever squad episode on my channel is none other than Mr. 300k himself, the star boy, the guy who has carried us on his back for about 6 years now, right? None other than Bukayo Temidayo. I think that's his name. Bukayo Temidayo Saka. Should we be worried about Bukayo Saka? These are the narratives. There are a lot of narratives going on about Saka, right? And to be fair, the narratives are justified. You know, a lot of rival fans, oh, you're star boy this, star boy that, da 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 da. Have you seen my son Bukayo? You know, a lot of it is warranted. You know, Saka's stats this season. Let me read them out to you: 9 goals, 5 assists in 40 games. This is Saka's lowest rate of goal involvement since becoming a regular starter in the Arsenal team. So there's a big drop off in form. Right. So a lot more narratives have been said. Oh, physically, he's not the same anymore since his injury. He's lost a yard of speed. Da 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 da. He doesn't look at it anymore. He's never going to be the same player. People putting their fear and their phobia onto Saka. Well, I looked into statistics. Well, statistics show no evidence of a drop off physically in Saka, right? Saka's top speed this season, according to a site called Genius IQ, his top speed this season is actually more or less the same with previous seasons. In fact, this season he's actually making more sprints per 90 minutes than last season. So he's averaging 13.7 sprints per 90 as opposed to 12.8 per 90 last season. However, we watch football with our eyes. I can tell you these stats, but it looks visible. Saka looks a bit more labored in his actions. Things are taking a lot longer than they used to with Saka, and I'm going to explain why. He's having fewer shots and he's creating fewer chances than last season in the league for Arsenal. Even though he's getting roughly as many touches of the ball as last season, he's getting far less threatening touches of the ball in the opposition box, right? His dribbles are up from last season, but he's carrying the ball forward less. What does that mean? He's dribbling inwards, he's dribbling backwards. But in terms of what we love seeing from Saka, isolating his fullback 1v1, getting past him, getting onto the byline, beating him, getting good deliveries into the box, we're not seeing that this season, right? There's a lot of reasons for that, right? So I'm going to get into what are the reasons. What are the reasons for there's a drop-off in Saka? So what are the reasons for it? So I'm going to come at two angles. I'm going to come at angle number one, team chemistry and mechanics. And I'm going to come at angle number two, which I think is the most important the player's confidence himself, right? Because you can't blame it all on the team, right? Even in a bad team, top players rise to the top, right? So let's talk Saka. This season, statistically, he's had fewer opportunities to isolate the fullback and go 1v1 with them. This is massive for a guy like Saka. Stats show that in the league, his 1v1s, right, him versus a fullback 1v1, it's dropped by over 10%. So it's gone from 18.9, it's gone from 18.9 one-on-ones with the fullback per 90 to 16.8 this season, right? Now, there are many reasons for this. Some can say, well, that's just the league in general. The league is just one of the things we have to consider is that the Premier League is a very tough, like people say, oh, the quality. True, offensive quality is not as good, but the defensive quality in the Premier League is up. Like it's up, man. Like teams are very organized, very well drilled. Like, and it's not just Saka, you're seeing it across the board. A lot of attackers are struggling this season, right? Yeah, that's just the nature of the league. But good players are good players, though they can break any system. So Saka, him getting fewer 1v1s. Why is this huge? Because Arsenal's attacking play the past 6 years as Saka rose to prominence, a lot of our, probably I would say up until this season, I would say Arsenal's best attacking solution was isolate, isolate Saka one on one with his fullback. That is literally what our game was predicated on, has been predicated on the past couple of seasons, right? It's how can we move the ball, move teams out of shape so we can work it and find a way to get Saka in the most threatening areas possible. We're not doing that as much this season. Why we're not doing that as much this season? Injuries. Obviously, Saka had a major injury last season. His season was interrupted with injuries last season. This season, he had an injury as well that kept him out for a couple months, 1-2 months. He was injured. Noni was playing. He looked good. Yeah, not just Saka, but Martin Odegaard. Again, I spoke about Arsenal's attacking structure, and a lot of Arsenal's attacking structure. Let's call a spade a spade. When we've been at our free flowing best, Martin Odegaard and Bukayo Saka have been on it. That link up is crucial, not just to the way Arsenal attack, but to Saka. Right? Why? So look at these stats. Right? Martin Odegaard and Saka, they've only this season they've only started 16 out of 47 games together this season. 16 out of a possible 47. They've started together. That's gonna have a big impact, especially on that's a dynamic, that's a relationship that contributes a lot to Arsenal's attack in the past and contributes to where Saka gets the ball and how he gets the ball, which I'm going to get to next. This is massive. And now it's not like, oh yeah, Arsenal are so bad. The team's moved on. It's like, no, both of them are really important players for us. And last season they got injured a lot. And we had to go large spells without them. So the team had to learn different ways of getting goals, different ways of creating chances. And this season we've kind of started to do that. Even though the attacking football's not been great, we've still scored over 100 goals. So this is clearly a team that's just figuring out ways to get goals, to get chances outside of that main attacking machine of Erdegaard and Saka link up. Not just Erdegaard, but Ben White as well. This is massive because Ben White has had a lengthy injury problems since last season. Lengthy injury problems. He's not been available a lot. And when he has been available, Timber's now starting a lot of games. Timber's my guy. I still think he's a better player than Ben White. But what Timber offers you in comparison to what White and Erdegaard offer, that whole right triangle, that was so crucial to some of Arsenal's best attacking fluidity, right? We're not seeing that anymore. And why is that so important to the way Saka plays? Because a lot of times, look at where Saka's getting the ball this season. This is something I want to touch on. Because the team has had to learn how to play without Saka, if you look at where Saka gets the ball nowadays, it's not where you want Saka. Saka is Arsenal's most decisive attacking player, in my opinion, right? When I say most decisive, I think who do I want in a danger area the most out of all the players? I'll pick Bukayo Saka because he's someone, whether you like him or not, he's a smart player. He's gonna produce something. He always does, right? You want him in the most threatening areas. He's the most decisive player, and when Ben White and Erdegaard play with him, they give him the ball in an opportunity for him to run into. Erdegaard is always somehow able to pull out wide to the right to allow Saka in that half space. Ben White does the exact same thing when he plays fullback. He's always offering that overlapping run. And if he's not offering that overlapping run to allow Saka to come inside into that half space, what he does is that when he's on the ball and Saka's moving, he actually, and I've seen it a couple of times, he'll play the ball to Saka for Saka to run onto in that half space to do damage. I think about I think about Zinchenko doing that for Saka when we beat Everton 4-0 3 seasons ago. I think about Ben White doing that for Saka last season when he scored a goal against Liverpool. We've seen this time and time again. I think about Erdegaard doing that for Saka, where he scored that amazing goal against Nottingham Forest when we beat them 3-0 last season at the Emirates, right? So Saka, that's where we want him. He's the most decisive player. You want him in that half space. But if you look at Arsenal this season, when Saka and Timber have started, right, and Eze, who I'm going to get to, where is Bukayo Saka? He's all the way hugging the touchline, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But who's in the half space between the centre back and the left back? Timber. Timber has gotten in that area a lot. I think I wasn't able to get the stats on it, but if I had to pull up stats of how much Timber's getting in there, he gets in there a lot. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but we don't want Timber there. We want Saka there. So I think there's why I'm talking player mechanics, player chemistry. You think about Saka, who he links up best, who links up. Well, I'll probably say who he has the most chemistry within the team: Erdegaard, White, Havertz. Now, who's Saka dealing with? Gyökeres, Timber, Eze. New set. So this is getting used to, okay, them getting used to him getting used to them, right? Them on Eze and Timber understanding how best they need to find Saka, where they need to find him, where they need to give him the ball so he can be his most decisive, right? This is massive, right? So that's what I wanted to say in terms of team mechanics, right? It's massive. Where Saka's receiving the ball nowadays, he's not receiving the ball with an opportunity in the half space to run into it and then cause damage. He's actually receiving the ball a lot of times on the halfway line, back to goal, with either 5 man to beat or just no passing lanes at all, right? Even the best of players are going to struggle in that dynamic. So what does that mean? I think Arteta's got to look at, okay, decide, bro, do you, if you really back Saka to be your most effective attacker, which I think he is, you've got to find ways to ensure that the team gets the ball to him as much as possible in the danger areas. Previous attackers of the past, Arsenal have been good at that. We are good at that with Aubameyang. It's no surprise that when Arteta came in with his untouchable, non-negotiables and player off the ball, you're not really. Aubameyang's form dropped off a cliff, yes, but prior to that, it was always about how can we find him in the areas where he's going to hurt teams. Same thing with Alexis Sanchez and Ozil. Ozil's always trying to find Alexis because he knows that's the danger man. How can I get the ball to him in the most threatening places? Same thing with Van Persie, Alex Song. We know that link up. It was his last season. It was always about how can we get Robin the ball. Walcott knew what time it was. Song knew what time it was. Oxlade-Chamberlain knew what time it was. Rosicky knew what time it was. How can we get the ball to RVP in the most threatening of areas? And I think we got to accept that this is what we need to do with Saka. The guy's a quality player. So it's about trying to find him in the right areas, which I don't think the team is doing a good enough job of, right? But it's one thing for the team mechanics and the chemistry. That can't be the main reason. I think the main reason that we're seeing a drop-off in Saka's form this season is confidence. It is down to confidence. Saka is taking way longer to get shots off. I've seen enough. I think about Inter Milan when we beat them 3-1 away. When Saka gets played in on the left, he's easy chance. I've seen Saka in that zone. He in that zone against even Olympiacos this season. He shoots. I've seen him in that zone against Newcastle a couple of seasons ago where he slapped it and he smacks it to the other side, goes in. I've seen Saka get the ball in tight angles, quick actions. I've seen him the volley against Aston Villa 3 seasons ago. I've seen the goal against Man United where he's confident. He knows he's got the beating of his man. We've seen it. We've seen Saka instinctive shot with his right foot where he smacks it and he roofs it. We've seen that finish from Saka time and time and time again. However, this season, the guy has taken way longer to get his shots off. And this is not because of a higher increase in defending. He's just not as confident. He's taken, anytime a player feels like he needs to take 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, he's not confident. Confident players, 1 touch, bang. So I think this is where I want to see the most improvement with Saka. I think it's a confidence thing. Form is temporary, class is permanent. Saka, when he gets the ball as well in threatening areas, I've seen him take on his man, but Saka, take on your man at will, bro. You can do it. He's still 5th for overall chances created in the Premier League with 52 this season. And he's 4th for chances created from open play with 44. So the guy is clearly a good player. And even in glimpses this season, we've seen it. For me, against United, Saka was Arsenal's best player. Against Wolves, Saka was Arsenal's best player. Against Fulham away, Saka was Arsenal's best player. I've seen games, even Liverpool, first half of that 0-0, Saka was Arsenal's best player, right? Giving him the ball. And that's why I was really disappointed with the Carabao Cup, because number one, look at the position Saka was in, but number two is when he did get on the ball, he didn't offer us a technical security. Okay, I'm going to get the ball, I'm going to get on it. He didn't want to get on the ball, which I was disappointed with. Not just him, but many of the players. So it's a confidence thing with Saka, right? So I think if he's able to fix this, if he's able just to really get the dog in him, get that edge, and as well as Arteta needs to actually, look at the team's mechanics, look at the team's chemistry, and as well as just the players just gelling well with each other, I think we're going to see a better Saka. I 100% back Saka to, if not this season, then definitely next season. Like, form is temporary, class is permanent. I see Saka as a world-class player. And lastly, who does he remind me of in the Bible? He reminds me of Timothy. There's two books in the Bible written where Paul writes to Timothy, First Timothy, Second Timothy. Saka reminds me of Timothy. Timothy was a young guy when Paul met him on his missionary journey. He was well spoken of, humble, teachable, gifted, had a good upbringing. That's Saka all over, man. Humble, well spoken of by everyone, teachable, clearly a good upbringing because the guy's humble, right? But just like Timothy needed pushing from Paul, just like Timothy needed that pushing, I think Saka needs that. I don't know who's gonna do it. If it's Arteta, if it's one of a Saliba or Gabriel or Rice, but he needs pushing, pushing, push. So just to get that greatness out of him, to get that, okay, yo, bro, you are that guy. You are a good player. Offensively, you are the best we have at this club. Show it. You know, scripture that reminds you of Saka is this scripture here in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verses 6 to 7, which basically says, fan into flames the gift of God that is in you. And then it says in 2 Timothy 1, verse 7, for God has not given us a spirit of timidity, but of power, love, self-control. Saka, it's in you, bro. It's in you. There's something in you. You've got the quality. Now have that edge. Back yourself. Be confident. I still think he can be Arsenal's talisman. He can be this for Arsenal. You know, he's still got a part to play in this season. Your goals, your quality, it's gotten Arsenal this far. Like, whether fans like to accept or not, without Saka, Arsenal are not in the position they are in today. The guy has literally helped the team carry us way up that table, right? And this season, we're not seeing it as much. I for one, I'm going to back him. I'm backing Bukayo Saka. Should we be worried about him? No. No, because form is temporary, class is permanent. I think with a confidence, with him sorting out the inner work in terms of his confidence, and as well as the natural team chemistry, which will come, which always comes after a while, as well as Arteta tweaking the team mechanics to get the best player on the ball in the most threatening areas as much as possible. Boy, it's not going to be long till we see the best of Saka. Anyways, guys, that was the first episode of Squad. We had to start off with the Star Boy. Let me know what you think. Yeah, pray for me to get the budget up so I can have guys to show graphics and videos and stuff on it, because when you actually look at it and observe it, you'll see a lot of the stuff about the team chemistry, Saka, the way he is. It's crazy. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you all with another episode of the Squad soon.